Most likely at the time you're watching this video, Dragon Ball Daima only has 2 or 1 more episode left in the finale. If you've been living under a rock, then you missed a moment for the history books in episode 18. Basically, Super Saiyan 4 has now been made into the canon original story. I have my own thoughts about this and we'll make a video talking about it very soon. Aside from that though, there's more important things to attend to, like how this series is actually going to end. There's quite a few things I think need to be done before Daima's end that would really bring it home, setting the stage for it to return in a later Dragon Ball Super story arc. The first being this Vegito thing. Now, Vegito being mentioned in Daima itself isn't the issue, but what follows after is. Apparently, when Vegito defused inside of Buu, it was because of a special gas that the pig monster created. Originally, this was the general consensus among fans, coupled with the fact that Vegito obviously needed to be taken out of the story because of how strong he is. When Dragon Ball Super came around, it was stated by Gowasu that a fusion between mortals using the Potara earrings isn't permanent and only will last 1 hour, or less depending on how much power you exert. Goku's reaction to this is surprising, which is where the issue lies. On the first read, this seems contradictory that this would be the reason that Vegito unfused, since in Daima episode 1 it stated that it was because of Buu. But this actually does make sense. Considering that Shin was surprised to hear that there was another way for the Potara fusion to be defused, this reaction is consistent. From our knowledge, Shin and Elder Kai never seen a mortal use the Potara earring, so they shouldn't know of this possibility. Unless you think that the witch that fused with Elder Kai was mortal, which isn't implied, and if she's anything like Baba, then there's a good chance she isn't. Having the abilities to bypass otherworld laws definitely doesn't seem like something a mortal could simply do. So because of their lack of experience, it makes sense that they would be unaware of this 1 hour time limit, which would lead to them investigating Buu as the source of the diffusion. Seeing Vegito defusing Buu in their eyes would only lead them to conclude that Buu must be the reason he split, and it turns out their theory was actually right since he split them apart. Now for the second problem. Kibito and Shin are split apart in Dragon Ball Daima, but are seen fused together in Dragon Ball Super. While this isn't the biggest deal in terms of the story, I can see why some fans may be confused about this. As of this video, it's unclear if they fuse back together at the end of the series. If they do, then that pretty much settles that, and the reason we don't see them unfuse again until later is because Buu was always sleeping. During the Battle of Gods arc specifically, Buu was awake, but with the threat of Beerus, I'm sure unfusing at this point in time is the least of their worries, and during the events of the revival of Frieza, Buu was asleep. So when they're seen unfused in the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament and the reason isn't because of Buu, this can still make sense. I would be tired of needing to roll the dice with Buu and seeing if he's awake or not myself as well. And after a certain period of time, I'd look for other options, which ended up being the Namekian Dragon Balls. Pretty clever on their part for trying it. Goku asking them why they unfused and Shin giving the same answer that he did in Daima is an unneeded scene, I'll admit. But this doesn't make Daima non-canon to Super, even if this scene is kinda dumb. Now, if they don't fuse back at the end of Daima, it's still not a retcon or means Daima isn't canon to Super, but it would be annoying and hard to explain everything I just said to your average fan. There's 3 years after Daima before Super starts, which leaves room for them to refuse again off screen for whatever the reason it might be. But that's not what the fans want, and I don't want that either. Just keep things simple and have them refuse again, please. I don't want to have to fight off the army of commenters that I'm going to be getting, but I will do it if I have to. Something the fans did want, however, was Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. In canon anyways. Many people don't know this, but he was technically a Super Saiyan 3 in GT. Baby Vegeta transformed twice after already being in Super Saiyan, and conveniently when he does, his hair grows out and he loses his eyebrows. Seems pretty Super Saiyan 3-ish to me. This was a big moment for Daima and even more for the Saiyan Prince. This is actually the first canon win Super Saiyan 3 has, and it's a Vegeta win. That's literally 2 for 2. The only problem is that he doesn't use this form ever again. Many people after celebrating this massive Vegeta W started handing him L's soon after. Like, why didn't he use this form in his fight with Beerus? You have a lot of fan theories that attempt to explain this, most of which were used to explain why Vegeta never used Super Saiyan 3 up until this point, but had it all along. The main one is that Vegeta pretty much thinks that the form is downright useless. It's stated in the Cell arc that Vegeta was able to use Grade 3 just like Trunks did, but didn't because he already knew of how ineffective it would be. He also discovers a workaround to using Super Saiyan Blue without the stamina drain in the Dragon Ball Super manga, by using it in short bursts while using Super Saiyan God as a base. Because of this, I can accept it as a pretty good reason as to why in general he doesn't use it, and most people I think can as well. When Trunks asks him in the anime, he just laughs, which is actually hilarious in retrospect. That is to say, in most cases. Vegeta definitely should have used it in his fight with Beerus, no matter how you slice it. Regardless of how useless Vegeta thinks Super Saiyan 3 is conventionally, it's obviously way stronger than Super Saiyan 2. A Vegeta theory I never agreed with is that somehow explanation as to what happened. If you're watching this after it's already been explained, you can skip further into the video and see the next thing Daima needs to do. I'll leave the timestamps in the video. If not, then they definitely need to. And if I had to take a guess, I would say it's pretty much a dormant power that Goku can't bring out himself because of the fact that he's not able to use magic. Rather than Neva unlocking Goku's potential, similar to what Elder Guru does in the original series, I think Neva more so is infusing his magic with Saiyan genetics, which results in this form we see Goku take on. Just a guess though, but it's important that they make it understood that Goku can't access this form without Neva giving him the power. Because if not, the Daima isn't connected to Super Party is going to start asking why this is a form we don't see in the future. Speaking of things we don't see, let's talk about Gohan. Firstly, anyone who says that they don't or didn't watch Daima because Gohan isn't in it, I don't see how you watch Dragon Ball Super. Gohan only had a prominent role in the Tournament of Power, and for the majority of the series he's either not there or does nothing. It's the Goku and Vegeta show. So I think just adding him, even if it's for a second, could appease some of the fan base and get some people to actually watch since he's in it. Absolutely ridiculous. Just let Gohan study, man. He doesn't want to fight. One last thing I want to make clear to those unaware. Daima is rumored to return in a future Dragon Ball Super story arc, so I don't see why it wouldn't be canon to the show it's gonna appear in. Daima is stated to be the sequel to the Buu Saga, which took place in Dragon Ball Z, and the Super staff has clearly said that Super is going to tie into the end of Dragon Ball Z. What more proof do you guys need? Aside from the fact that Toriyama himself has more involvement with Daima than he had in any other series, mind you. Still not convinced? Okay, how about this? Goku does the super stance in Daima, only a stance he's ever taken in Dragon Ball Super. Not enough? Okay. At the beginning of every Daima episode, the recap of the series shows Dragon Ball Super Bardock when talking about Goku's past. No? Still not enough? Okay. Well, how about the fact that Gowasu, a Dragon Ball Super character, is shown in the story along with the other Kaioshin from the multiverse? Nothing? Also, Universe 7, a Dragon Ball Super concept, is how Degasu tells Warp which Earth he wants to go to? No? Well, if you're not convinced after that, I don't know what to tell you. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and until next time, Majin Birds. For everyone who have made it to the end of the video and walked with me on this journey, I thank you. You're an irreplaceable fan that I'd like to be a part of the main Majin Bird family, and I implore you to join the Dragon Ball HQ Discord server in the description. Here I'd like to garner a core fan base of Dragon Ball fans where we can celebrate and discuss the miracle that is Dragon Ball. Thank you.